Hello, this is Omi Naruzi with Team SideScroller, and this is our 5th sprint progress video. Let's start off with Micah McKinnon.
Hello, this is Micah McKinnon. I had the following user stories for Sprint 5. My first user story is as a player, I want to have an invincibility power-up travel across the screen so that I can be immune to damage for a fixed duration of time. The acceptance criteria for this story is when the game is open, an invincibility power-up should randomly travel across the screen that gives the player immunity from damage upon collision with the player.
Here we are on the game screen. Let's play the game a little while we wait for an invincibility power-up to appear. As you can see, it's appeared on the left side of the screen, and now the player is invincible.
My final user story for this sprint is as a player, I want a UI component to show when I have the invincibility power-up so that I can be aware of the power-up and how long it will last. The related acceptance criteria is when the game is open and the player has the invincibility power-up, an icon should appear near the score's UI with a timer next to it that counts down from 30. The player should also be rendered at half opacity to indicate invincibility. When the counter reaches 0, the player should no longer be invincible.
This is noted up here by the scores UI and the icon counting down from 30, and the players being rendered at half opacity. So as you can see, I am not taking any damage from the boss, and now I just did, because the invincibility is done.
Hello, this is Tyrell Tachibana, and I'll be going over my 5th sprint today. Now for my first user story under game screen functionality, I have as a player, I want to have a shield power-up travel across the screen so that I can be immune to damage for a fixed number of hits. And the acceptance criteria is, when the game is open, a shield power-up should randomly travel across the screen that gives the player immunity from 3 hits of damage upon collision with the player. Let me bring in my emulator. So I'm just going to hang out and do stuff for a little bit. And there's the shield power-up icon. Perfect. Watch it travel across the screen and watch it land with me. And you can see the 3 power-up icons. Now for my second user story, as a player, I want a UI component to show up when I have the shield power up so that I can be aware of the power up and how many hits I have left. The acceptance criteria is when the game is open and the player has a shield power up, a 3 shield icon should appear near the health user interface that decreases by 1 each time the player gets hurt. There should also be a shield drawn on the player while he has the power up. When the player gets hit a 3rd time, he should no longer have the shield. I bring my emulator back, and lucky for everyone, I still have the shield. You can already see the 3 shield icon here, and then you can see me having the shield logo on the avatar. I'm going to get hit, and then you see him hit me, and I lose a shield icon. I have him hit me 2 more times. And you see, I no longer have the shield icon, and I've lost the shield around me. That should be the end of my video. Thank you.
For this sprint, I worked on game screen functionality. The first user story, as a player, I want to have a double score power-up travel across the screen so that I can store double the points for a certain amount of time. The acceptance criteria, when the game is open, a double score power-up should randomly travel across the screen that gives the player double score for a duration of time upon collision with the player. So when we go to start game here, and we'll have to wait for power up to appear. Alright, did that ×2, that's a power up, and as you can see upon collision, it's activated in the top here. The second story that I worked on. As a player, I want a UI component to show when I have the double score power up so that I can be aware of the fact that I am earning double points. The acceptance criteria is when the game is open and the player has the double score power up, an icon should appear to the right of the score's UI. While this power up is active, the score should increase by 20 with each kill. After a certain amount of time, the icon should disappear and the score increment should go back to 10. So if we resume the game, and we'll attack this enemy, 110 is the score right now, and as you can see it went up 20, and we'll wait for that power up to disappear. And you can see it's going up 20 every enemy I kill. Alright, and now it's gone, so let's attack this enemy, and we expect it to only go up 10 points, and it does. And another one to make sure, 10 points. Alright, thanks.
Hello, this is Omid again, and for my first user story, we had, as a player, I wanted to press the Y button to duck so that I can avoid attacks from overhead. The acceptance criteria was when the game is open and the player holds down the Y button, the character should crouch/duck until the Y button is released or another button is pressed. Here we are on the screen. Now if I press Y, I duck. If I release it, I unduck. If I press Y and press another button, I unduck as well. For my second user story, I had, as a boss enemy, I would like to have special attacks so that I can inflict more damage on the player. Acceptance criteria was when the game is open and the boss enemy is present, the boss enemy should descend at each side of the screen and fire a large fireball at the player. Here we are again, and we have a boss enemy on screen. He just threw a fireball, but let's go ahead and show that one more time. There he goes, he descends and he fires a fireball at you. One more time on the other side. Boom, there you go. For my third user story, I had, as a boss enemy, I want to have special movements so that my behavior is less predictable. The acceptance criteria was when the game is open and the boss enemy is present, the boss enemy should travel quickly across the top of the screen and descend to attack the player. If the boss enemy is hit by the player, it should perform a berserk motion by darting across the screen twice. And here we are again with the boss enemy. As you may have seen before, he has certain movements. He's much harder to catch because of the speed with which he flies across the screen, but when you hit him, there's also a berserk attack that he does across the screen, which may not matter as much when he's in the air, but if you try hitting him on the ground, there he goes, and he hurts the player.